Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Welcome to Late Pizza, where we serve up bite-sized chunks of pop culture podcasting. I'm your host, my name is Steve-O, and today I'm talking about the very definition of an indie movie, the monochromatic Kevin Smith classic, Clerks, from 1994. History of the film and facts. You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you. That line was spoken by the eminent sage of pop culture, Silent Bob, in his single line in the 1994 film Clerks. Clerks was a monumental landmark for indie filmmakers, a true work of someone's passion, and a belief that they had a story that only they would properly be capable of telling. That dude's name is, of course, Kevin Smith. Smith would release his debut work, Clerks, in the fall of 1994. The film was written and directed by Smith himself, and he would also feature in the film as the previously mentioned sage, Silent Bob. Smith, alongside his good friend and working partner Scott Mosier, would also produce and edit the film. Shot in black and white to save money, Smith would sell off a large selection of his comic book collection, as well as running up several cards worth of credit card debt, and even dipping into his college fund in order to finance the film's meager $27,000 budget and get the film completed. The film was shot in and around the location of Smith's actual place of employment, the Quick Stop convenience store in Leonardo, New Jersey. The entire production was shot from start to finish in 21 straight days. During most of these days, Smith would still be working the Quick Stop during the store's normal business hours, and then film in the location at night while the store was closed. This also meant he was running on mostly no sleep for most of the film's production. Upon pickup and distribution by Miramax, Clerks would go on to gross $3 million against its paltry $27,000 budget. The little indie flick that could was a massive success despite playing to less than 50 screens at a time in the United States. The film was very well received critically, with praise being directed at the sharp dialogue, witty humor, and the realism of the characters. The plot of the film focuses on the two main characters, Dante and Randall, who are the titular clerks working the Quick Stop. The movie covers a typical day in their neighborhood, dealing with the local colorful characters and customers, and making any and all attempts to shatter the ennui of the boring workday. Dante, as we are repeatedly informed, isn't even supposed to be there today, and is dealing with stress in his relationship. His best friend Randall works the adjoining RST video rental store, and enjoys filling Dante's day with rants and pessimistic views about everything from the downfall of society to his pop culture-centered rage around the plight of contract workers who died on board the second Death Star. The film is flippant, funny, crude, vulgar, and somehow also comes across as genuine and real. While Dante and Randall are the main focus of the story and the main stars of the film, it's the other day-to-day characters they interact with throughout the story that draw the biggest laughs. A gum salesman operating under false pretenses, a woman obsessed with finding the right carton of milk, and a particular pair of drug-peddling loiterers who would go on to have a much bigger impact on Kevin Smith's career than he probably ever could have foreseen. But more on those two coming up. Legacy of the film. Clerks would go on to produce a short-lived and underrated animated series in 2000, simply titled Clerks, the Animated Series. The show only managed to air 2 episodes on ABC before being pulled by the network. The entire series was later released on DVD in 2001 and eventually picked up for brief runs on Comedy Central in 2004 and Adult Swim from 2008 to 2010. A sequel was released, Clerks 2, in 2006 and was the 6th film in Kevin Smith's View universe, which interconnected a bulk of his filmography. The film was shot fully in color and set 10 years after the events of the first film, picking up Dante and Randall's adventures as they are forced to transition from clerks to fast food employees after a fire destroys the Quick Stop. The film would go on to also be a major commercial and critical success, grossing $27 million against its $5 million budget. Two of the breakout star characters of the film, Jay, played by Smith's best friend Jason Mewes, and Silent Bob, played by Smith himself, would go on to become icons in the worlds of pop culture and join the likes of famous stoner duo Cheech and Chong. The pair would appear in a vast majority of Smith's future work, including headlining two of their own films, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in 2001 and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot in 2019. Kevin Smith has continually offered updates on the status of a potential Clerks 3, sharing several different script pages, titles, and plot ideas over the years since Clerk 2's release. The most recent update came in 2019 when Smith confirmed that Jeff Anderson had agreed to return to the role of Randall one last time and that Clerks 3 would be the conclusion of the Clerks saga. Just going to take a break here to ask an important question. Do you like to hear yourself talk? Ever heard a podcaster and think to yourself, I could do that? Well, have you heard of Anchor? If you haven't, let me tell you, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast and reach the audience that you think is waiting. Anchor is free with built-in tools that allow you to record and edit right from your phone or computer. Anchor handles distribution for you to get your podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. You can partner with advertisers and make money from your podcast with no minimum viewership required. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Film trivia. Before the attempted animated series, Clerks also had a go at a live-action show, with a pilot episode being produced in 1995, without Kevin Smith's involvement. The show features no actors from the movie, and only references the characters in passing reference by name. There was a brief run of Clerks comics, penned by Smith himself. A large portion of the budget ended up being directly used for the soundtrack to the film, in an effort to make sure all of the songs Kevin Smith had selected would be cleared for use. The music video for the Soul Asylum song, Can't Even Tell, was directed by Smith and filmed in the same locations. Kevin Smith has stated many times that he wrote the role of Randall specifically for himself, which is how Randall ended up with the best lines and jokes. Clerks is loosely based on Dante's The Divine Comedy. There are 9 title cards interspersed throughout the film to represent the 9 circles of hell. The film's original ending featured Dante closing up the store when he is shot and killed during an attempted robbery. Smith opted to cut this ending and include the more upbeat ending seen in the finished film. Next time on Late Pizza. Join us on the next episode of Late Pizza, where I'll take a look back at Batman, the 1966 film starring the late, great Adam West. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Late Pizza. I hope you had a good listen. I've been your host, Steve-O. Be sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you know your Late Pizza is always on time.
And I couldn't find a place.
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.